Welcome, fellow listeners, to another episode of the True Crime Archives. I am your host, CJ Data.
And co-host, Pitt McCarthy.
Close enough. Anyway, today we're going to be discussing, by the request of Pitt McAfee, the Toy Box Killer. Why don't you start us off, since it was your request?
Alright, sure thing. Let's see.
So, what's the backstory behind this guy?
Well, to start off, I'll give out his real name. His real name was David Parker Ray. And he was born in New Mexico on November 6, 1939. In Belen, to be exact.
Alright.
And let's see. We'll probably start off with his childhood. So, his childhood, he was raised by his pretty strict grandfather. And his dad, who was an alcoholic and pretty violent, would be giving him magazines that contained things like bondage and whatnot.
Yeah, so sadomasochistic crap. I that's one thing I'll never understand, but whatever. You know? Alright. Go ahead.
So, yeah, you can already see he already had a bit of a weird childhood.
Yeah, and looking at that stuff young is definitely going to do something to a kid's brain.
It said that when he was in high school, which was in the town of Mountainair, New Mexico, he was often bullied by his fellow high school students because he had an issue with talking to girls.
Not surprising.
It was also around his teenage years that he started having fantasies about things like sexual assault, torture, and even murder. And his sister happened to discover sadomasochistic drawings, as well as photographic images of that stuff.
Oh boy.
And after high school, he ended up receiving an honorable discharge from the U.S. Army. He was a general mechanic when he was in there.
I'm pretty...
And this guy had a handful of marriages, too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he ended up getting divorced 4 times and only had 2 children.
And during that time, people say divorce was rare, but I have my doubts about that. It just wasn't talked about. Even if you knew somebody who did, you didn't talk about it. But anyway, and it says he had 2 children.
Yep.
Children, apparently, who helped him with some of these things?
Oh, yeah, apparently one of his children, his daughter specifically, was one of the people that helped him. His daughter was known as Jessie Ray.
Jessie Ray. Okay.
Alright, so we're going to go on to some of the details of the crimes he did. Now, we're going to be talking about some relatively graphic stuff. Viewer discretion is advised. So his crimes, consisted of things like sexual torture, and using things like whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreaders, surgical blades, electric shock machines, saws.
Oh. Ugh. Continue.
And he would do that inside this torture room that was also soundproof, that he referred to as his toy box, which I assume is where his name came from.
Actually, I did not. Actually, with that name, I didn't. I would have never guessed he did get this. I thought this guy was a child killer, but no, apparently not.
Nope, he didn't kill any children.
Now, keep in mind, I had no idea about this guy until he brought him up, and I didn't really do too much research up until this point. I mean, I have my own sources up here, but yeah, I originally thought that just by the name, this guy was a child killer, because usually with a toy box, you think of that.
Typically, yeah.
Typically, but
that name comes from the fact he would refer to his torture chamber as his toy box.
Which is pretty sick.
Oh, yeah.
It's really sick,
and,
you know?
Let's see. He ended up having a bunch of toys, and whatnot as well. And as well as needles to, inject the drugs such as barbiturates and knockout drugs.
Barbiturates? I have never even heard of that. Whatever. It's probably something that...
Alright, so a barbiturate is a drug that acts as a central nervous system depressant. So...
Oh, okay. Alright, continue.
So anyway, let's see, really nothing ended up leading to his suspicion. He ended up getting away with it for years. Just kidnapping women and torturing them with his friends and whatnot, too, often.
He had friends that had to do this?
And, even crazier is he would often have dogs, too.
I don't doubt for a second he fed some of his victims to the dogs.
Oh, no, he didn't feed them to the dogs.
He didn't?
He wasn't. Nope. In fact, he was actually never convicted of murder. We'll get to that later.
Alright.
But yeah, he would use dogs to, you know.
I don't even want to know. I don't think I do, anyway.
He also had tape recordings, so if he knocked them out with drugs, he would play the recordings when they woke up, and it would be pretty degrading.
Well, I'm sure.
Now it's time to get into the reason why he got arrested anyway. So it all started when he was posing as an undercover police officer and ended up approaching this girl named Cynthia Vigil in a parking lot. He told her she was under arrest for prostitution and handcuffed her, and ended up putting her in his trailer and took her to this town of Elephant Butte. After 3 days, she ended up escaping on March 22nd, 1999. How she escaped is Ray went to work. His accomplice, who was there, left the keys on a nearby table to go take care of a phone call. And she grabbed the keys, and stabbed his accomplice in the neck, and ran off. And came across a neighbor's house, and they called 911. And apparently his accomplice survived, as both Ray and his accomplice were arrested. And a few other people came forward with similar stories. they did try to find dead bodies, but there were none at all, which is the reason why he was never convicted of murder. And they didn't find any bodies at all.
Yeah, but who knows? There's a lot that's unknown on here. I cannot think of how many people's lives he has ruined because of this crap.
Oh, yeah. So after all that, he was on trial and everything, but ended up dying a year later. Because a year later, due to a heart attack.
Oh, boy. Boy, and it says here he had a video of a victim, which, you know, was allegedly in 1996. Alright, apparently she got into some argument with, you know, like, her husband. They decided to go out with some friends to get away from the situation. And apparently his daughter took her to a bar in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. That's an odd name.
That is a bit of an interesting name. He ended up kidnapping her, but she ended up, he kidnapped her, and he thought he killed her, but he didn't.
And apparently, her drink was drugged.
Yeah, that's how he managed to kidnap her.
Trying to drug somebody's drink in public.
That's pretty much it. The dude was absolute sadist.
Yeah, and apparently 2 other accomplices were uncovered. Basically, his daughter and somebody by the name of Dennis Yancey, who apparently his ex-girlfriend he strangled, and after Ray had kidnapped and did what he did to her, and he was convicted of second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree. Sentenced to 2 15-year prison terms. 2 15-year prison terms. Okay. After that murder, some murder did happen. He allegedly admitted to having another accomplice by the name of Billy Bowers, who was a business partner who he also killed. Which of course they never found the body. And the FBI sent 100 agents to pretty much dig up his property and some areas nearby with no humans, with no human remains being found. To prevent women from reporting the crimes, Ray had drugged them with agents to induce amnesia. Don't know.
Oh yeah, that's the barbiturates I told you about.
Oh, that, yeah. So these are pretty much date rape drugs, what we know today. Maybe they were known as that back then, but who knows. Sodium pentothal and phenobarbital. My gosh. Alright, so apparently one of his trials ended in a mistrial. So yeah. Oh, apparently he had another accomplice who testified against her, but received a sentence of 36 years for her role in it. Wow, it's not just men he had helping him with his sick fantasies.
Yep, he had women too.
And she was scheduled to receive parole in 2017. She was released on July 15, 2019. That was a couple years ago. After serving the 2 years of her parole in prison. Okay. Yeah, he did die of a heart attack. I don't know. before he was supposed to be interrogated for further stuff.
He should consider himself lucky he didn't have to serve prison time. Because who knows what would have happened to him behind bars.
Yeah, who knows? Who freaking knows? And plus, from what I hear, as far as going from jail to prison, apparently after you're sentenced to prison, you're still in the county jail for who knows how long, and they'll come transport you at the most inconvenient time. Like they
do you mean things like when you're in the middle of a shower?
Sometimes yeah. But also they could go to you and say that normally what I mean by inconvenient times is just like in the middle of the night, like say at 2 a.m, like you're fast asleep, you know? And they'll be like, let's say for example, let's just Ray, get up, you're being transported. Get up now.
So, there's probably a reason why they do that, though. They probably try and pick completely random times to make sure no escape attempts can be made.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I know, but when it comes to things like transporting prisoners to a death house, if they have to do that, they take a completely out of the way route, usually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he considered himself lucky he didn't have to.
I'm pretty sure where he is in the spirit. I'm pretty sure wherever he is in the spirit realm, it's probably going to be worse.
Well, yeah, good point. Yeah,
because
that would actually be worse. Yeah,
because he's gonna have to spend all of his. I'm pretty sure he's spending his entire eternity in darkness. So yeah, I'm pretty sure spending the rest of your life in prison would be like a piece of cake compared to doing it for eternity.
Yeah, you get a point there. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, so yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of people who have really gone after, like pornography, calling it the new drug and whatnot, not, and how it can damage youth. Well, I can kind of see where they're coming from to an extent.
Yeah, I can see where they're coming from to an extent. And you can say that he's a prime example.
Yeah, he's a prime example. Granted, everybody's different, and it affects everybody differently. But the stuff he was into, I've heard about the stuff over and over again, and I'll never understand it. But apparently some people get a kick out of it, so whatever.
And I don't think it helps that he was obviously exposed to it at a young age.
Yeah, and who knows what his grandfather did to him and his sister as children. Who knows what he did,
Oh yeah, there don't seem to be any details about that. All we know is that he was apparently pretty strict.
And who knows what his dad did to him when he came around? Who knows? Yeah, it's stuff like this that really makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. And let's get on some side notes here. Oh, and apparently his victims he started doing this sort of crap back in the 50s when he was still a kid.
Oh yeah, he would have been well, from the math I did, he would have been 18 the year he started. So
yeah,
he was just barely an adult when he started this stuff.
Oh, and his little toy box, his trailer, he called his toy box. He spent $100,000 making it into what he wanted it to be. It was, and you got to think about that money back then. This probably took years.
Oh, it probably did. It probably took a while. He soundproofed it. He had needles on the roof of it, so his victims could often watch what was happening to them. So he got something out of that too.
And I'm pretty sure this is how much he spent total over the years, but it's beyond. Seriously, even all at the time he was committing it, that was a lot of money. You think that's a lot of money today? That was probably 3 times as much back then. That would probably be over $1 million, over multiple hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million today.
Oh yeah. Taking all that inflation into consideration.
Yeah, we've definitely got to take that into consideration. But
there still is really crazy about how literally no deaths were reported to him at all. That's pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh. All right, and apparently there's here's like a little shot that they took of this trailer, and I'm just like,
oh yeah, I've seen some pictures of the inside of it too.
oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna put some, who knows, maybe I'll edit some of these pictures and put them on screen if I do, they'll be showing right about now. Oh, it's unbelievable here.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah. You see all this stuff on the wall. You see where he sat his victims down.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my
you see all these drawers of things like surgical instruments and whatnot.
And I know some people may ask, like, how do you get surgical instruments? I mean, they're not cheap, but you can buy. I know they are obtainable somehow. Heck, they're probably easier to obtain now. They're not cheap though. Like, you can buy surgical bone saws right now, and let me look something up. Let's see how much you can get those today. I'm just gonna look on eBay for kicks and giggles. Let's just look, see how much you can get it for. Surgical. Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay, so you can get, just some cheap whatever ones for actually $20. But those are just hand instruments. Well, I don't know how much they were back then, but considering they would have been very hard to obtain, I'm sure. Or who knows, maybe he got his hands on a military type surgical kit. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Let's see, an electronic, here's electronic one. Oh, this is for dental. This one is for dental surgery. It's $270. Okay, that's about what I'd expect. Oh, and you can get an antique one for $1,800.
Alright, so it is possible to get this stuff.
Yeah, I don't exactly know if these are the best quality, but yeah, no, I don't know. I wouldn't argue with it. Oh, and this is one that I would have figured would be over $700 for this one, this electric one. Okay, I don't know why I'm even reading this, but I don't even know why I'm looking into this, but I thought it would be fun to do. Apparently, dental stuff is easier to obtain, which I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, and alright, so known accomplices. Here's a source. Let's just say, and there's actually a picture of Cynthia Lee Hendy.
Oh yeah, there is.
Cindy Lee Hendy. Alright, so this was a girlfriend of his, had 3 children from a prior relationship, moved to New Mexico to avoid being prosecuted for forgery, theft, and drug possession. So she was a fugitive. And depending on what time it is, if she bail jumped on a bondsman, they would be coming for her butt. Depending on where she came from. I'm not sure that, I'm pretty sure bondsmen, or what are known as bounty hunters today, I don't even think they can cross state lines anymore, I don't think. So depending on the time frame, it's possible that she could have gotten away, but anyways, sentenced to 36 years for her involvement in the abduction and tortures. And Glenda Jean Jessie Ray. No, yeah, this is his daughter. That's apparently her birth name. And she got sentenced to 5 years.
Okay, that's a bit of a short sentence.
5 years of probation for a second-degree kidnapping. Okay, that makes sense. Sense, but I don't know. See, it still seems a little light to me. Oh, and Dennis Royancy. He got, as I mentioned before, he got 2 15-year sentences, which I think would have been, I'm not even going to try to guess. Yeah, it's because I'm probably going to get the math wrong and people are going to mock me for it. Anyway, actually, there is a way I can do that, actually. Let's see, do I have anything? Alright, hold on. Let me pull something up here. Let's... whatever. It doesn't matter. Alright, so... Alright, so... Yeah, that's... Yeah, definitely, definitely... Oh, and apparently he got split up with his younger sister after their grandmother died. Alright, so...
Interesting, I didn't know about that. You taught me something.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, how many victims he had is unknown. It's hard to know when And sometimes when he admits to some, even if he admitted to all that, every single one he did, he still have to prove it. They still have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it, you know? And heck, even some criminals take it upon themselves as a form of glory to glorify and maybe exaggerate their crimes. Apparently he wasn't a good student in his school either.
Yeah. If I remember right, he even did drugs when he was younger.
Oh yeah, definitely. And having already an addiction to this type of stuff, to the type of stuff he was into, that probably didn't help matters.
So yeah, pretty much a disaster waiting to happen.
Absolutely. Yep. So, all right. I'd say that one was a quicker one than usual, mainly just because this one is kind of an open and shut case. Case I'm not saying Timothy McVeigh wasn't, but there was a lot more to that. So with that being said, tune in next time for when we cover King Leopold II of Belgium and the former owner of the Congo of Africa.
All right, here we go.
Good night, audience, and
good night, everybody.
And see you next time.
See ya.